What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video episode presented by Full Tilt Farming. If you're wondering what Full Tilt Farming is, we are an online PS4 community, so if you're looking for a place to join up, come check us out. You can find us under Full Tilt Farming under the Farm Sim 17 community list. If you've watched and kept up with our videos, or possibly a subscriber, you've noticed we've done fertilization plowing videos, we've done mission videos, just kind of your early onset videos to kind of get you geared and get you kind of up and started and ready to go. The one thing that we're going to look at today is the wonderful world of weeding. Now, I was kind of skeptical about this. I kind of looked at these things and said, this is a little bit, I'm okay with this. Let's check it out. Well, and as this guy's pulling this last line of seed here, we do have two. We have a 1200 and a 900. Now, we've got two different styles of weeders, and we've got a bunch going on with those weeders that is really going to be kind of, it's definitely going to be different, and it's going to be cool. So as we pull this off to the side, I'm actually going to pull up our weeder list. As we look at these, and 1200's right here. It's pretty cool looking. We've got, really quickly, we've got 12 meter workability range, pulls at 7, and needs about 95 horsepower. That's pretty low. That's going to be your entry level stuff, entry level tractors. This one the same, still entry level 80 horsepower. So these are both very viable options for fertilization states once you kind of get into the game, get you a decent little tractor, and can start pulling. Now, the thing about these is they don't cost any money. Now, the Pneumatistar does take seed. You say, well, why does it seed? This actually will underseed grass. You see it under the 300 there capacity, and it will seed that other symbol is oilseed radish. Now that's something new that's been added into 17. You can see that on this one in the sheet specs here that it says a 9 meter workability range, so it's a little bit on the little smaller side, but this one packs a double punch. This is small, but it packs the 1-2. If we're going to look here at the 1200, the reason I was pulling this thing is I want to show a growth chart here in fertilization state. As we kind of get into this, this is more along this map side, which I've been pushing the entire time I've been doing these videos. It's very, very, very important if you want to keep up with this stuff that you learn how to use this map, learn how everything operates. It is going to save you a ton of time. So you can see on 14, we have got something growing, and I believe it will be wheat. So there we go, a little green strip there on 14 right here if you're following my cursor. Fruit type is wheat. So you see that we've got us a strip there that is growing, and the rest of it is just purely cultivated. And soil composition, no plow, and we do have no stages of fertilization. I'm not exactly sure where that other little blue strip came from because this has been cultivated and done, but it is what it is. It's there. So we're back out here. I'm going to hop in, and we're going to crank this thing up. We're going to get it spread out here, and then we're going to take a look and see what this thing does. These are, like I said, the 1200 is really nice because it gives you a free option for fertilizer. If you are early on the game and don't have the money, but you can at least afford this machine, you'll never have to buy any more fertilizer. This can do everything that any of the granular, any of that other stuff. You can run these. I can hire a worker with this. He will continue to work the field, which is pretty awesome. But he'll only work it after you seed it. That's the thing. You have to seed, cultivate, and seed. Then you can work with the weeders. So looking at this, I guess on the flip side, if you're going to move over to the other one, I'm going to pull this off to the side. There we go. And if you are going to be looking at this one offers you a completely different set with the oilseed radish. And you say, well, why would I want to cultivate, then plant this, and then cultivate again? Because this one actually does both. Now, I'm going to go into that as we get into. Now, the one thing to remember, and I've caught myself on this so many times, you will kind of get the same, but you will not be able to see the grass grow because it's underseeded grass. Now, looking at oilseed, it will grow on top. So make sure that you have oilseed selected, and once it grows in, you will see it. Now you can see that it's pulling that, the texture is changing on the ground, so you know that you are laying seed down, and it is actually registering inside the tractor there. So looking at these, just giving a quick, we're going to look at, once this is sped up, we're going to kind of transition into the other one, other side of the video of this when we actually go through and start cultivating and look at seeding, using different seeders to get different results. And you're actually going to see what you get with this particular seeder once we put everything together. So I'm actually going to drag this up, and then I'm going to drag it down. But I'm actually going to go ahead and speed up the process. We're going to kind of move over to the next one, but I'm going to drag probably 2 more lines, just so we have enough room for, you know, the workability on the videos, for you to kind of see a couple of different options for gameplay and a couple different things for you to kind of make a decision for your own preference game style play. So stick with us. We'll be on the flip side once all this stuff grows, and we'll kind of look at how all of this stuff works together. Alright guys, we're back. We sped things up. We've got some oilseed radish there in our view is growing, and we also have some wheat here is at its first sprout stage. Now I've cut it back to real time so that we can get all this stuff in. As you can see, I've got a lot of equipment here pulled up. These are all different variations of things, and they're all going to give you a different result. So the first thing we'll look at here is the Aerosol Rotation 1200. We're actually going to look at what it does. Now, as we get in here, we're going to go back to our soil composition and look back at our chart here. As you can see, we've still got that line pulled from our first time that we went down, and after we seeded. Now we're in the first stage of growth, not seeded, weeded. And then you see that middle strip there is where we seeded all the oilseed radish, and that doubled as 1 stage of fertilizer. So we've got 1 stage each, 2 different machines still have created the same effect here. So let's look at this. We've got our first stage of growth. We'll lower it down, and we'll pull about the same amount of line off of that. We should see you've got a different color of brown in the back there. It's not the same as we had before, so it is different. So we're getting another fertilization stage without having to actually buy any more fertilizer, which is pretty good. If you're going to use these on small fields, this is, absolutely perfect. If you don't need that big old huge fertilizer to drag behind, that you got to pull that through everywhere, you got to continually keep going up and getting more seed and more more fertilizer to fill it. So this is actually a really, really, really good alternative, especially if you are a green farmer. You don't like to use the chemicals and the granulars and the sprays. So let's look back at our soil composition, and we should see, yes, we are in our second stage of fertilization. We've got that medium blue, and then I drug it a little further so you can see I actually got that extra set in here. Now, this little strip will give us 60% yield in the middle. If you are able to get the dark deep blue, that is a 90% return or yield in your crop. And then if you have plowed this crop, then you get that 10%. So this gives you a whole extra 100 on top of what the field would have normally given you under just standard default settings. So now let's move tractors. We're going to move back over here. Okay, yeah, let's go over one more. So this one is a cultivator. Now I want to show this because this is going to set up our other 2 options down there. This is just your standard cultivator, does absolutely nothing except ground up the ground. Then we do have the Valtra T series with an arrow tires, just so we don't destroy everything. It doesn't matter, we don't have that mod, scripted mod in here, but I still try to pretend anyway. So as we get over here on the end, yeah, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and lower this, and then we're going to start pulling. Now obviously you're going to see that the oilseed radish goes again, but you're also going to notice something else. If you look at the soil, get up here at the top, you can kind of see. You can kind of see that we've got a different color here. So that means, and as we pull up here this soil composition, you can see that on the same planted oilseed radish from the seeder weeder, you get the weeding capabilities when you first start going. Now this is all takes place before you actually seed. You got to keep that in mind. You're already at the second stage before you even get ready to seed. So this is a very viable option, especially for these smaller, more medium-sized fields where you're not doing something as big as, say, 5, 20, 21, any of those fields across the bottom, 1, any of these kind of mediocre range fields in the middle. This is perfect because you've got 2 stages, and all you're doing is cultivating putting it down and then cultivating again, and you get that. Now you say, well, that's a lot of passes. A lot of passes, to say the least, if you're looking at this from a new farmer standpoint. So let's go back. Let's look at this one. This is the Horsch Pronto Dc9. Now this has a 9-meter workability range here. It is a 3-in-1 combo machine, so it cultivates, it seeds new seed, and it fertilizes. So let's just take a gander as to what you think this is going to do. We saw the cultivator gave us our second stage, and now we're going to look at this one. We'll get things cranked up here. I'm actually going to move this over a little bit so we got plenty of room for the other one. Let's put down, we're going to put down some wheat. And this is the Case Optum that I'm in with the double narrow tires. It's a pretty cool little machine. It's very lower on the high end. So we'll turn this on, we'll lower her down, and we'll start pulling. Now, thing you're going to notice very quickly is that you're getting the same look as you did on the cultivator. So the question is, and I hope this works, because if it doesn't, I'm going to be embarrassed when this video goes up on YouTube, because I have not actually tested this out, but I wanted to and get a reaction online for the first time. Shut the tractor down, and yes! So you can see field 14, it actually pulled all three phases together. So I got the cultivation and I got the fertilization. So if you are upper on the middle end of the game where you can afford some of these, the cedar weeder with the oilseed radish is totally viable, because you get 2 stages of fertilization with 1 pass. And then you look at this, you don't even have to pull granular, you don't even have to pull sprayers on the first stage. Literally, you plow, cultivate, throw that stuff down, send a worker off to do it, and then pull this afterwards, and you get all 3 stages before you even start growing the crop. That is awesome. So let's look at, just for test purposes, I would imagine, since that pulled that one, your other combo, which is what I used to have, which is the Rapid 600S, I'm sure when that one is pulled, we're going to be looking at something similar, except you're going to see a different color field texture. And you're also going to see, let's make sure I put wheat down, yes. So as we pull this, we will probably not see the same texture, which no, we do not. It is much lighter, which means we are not getting the stage of fertilization that the Pronto will give us. Now, I'm going to stop right here, and we're going to comparatively look at all these things, and yes. So you will see, zooming in here, that we get our second phase on this. We get our second phase of fertilization, which is fine. If you have the Rapid 600S, then this is still a viable option of fertilization. Saves you from having to make a ton of extra passes with the granular, or even buying the sprayers and continually feeding those things. That's the key about this. You don't have to continually go buy fertilizer. You do have to buy seed, which, you know, we've pulled 3 or 4 lines and barely used a couple of drops of seed out of that 300 capacity. So it's still very viable from the storage capacity, because it doesn't use a lot. Now, granted, you're always going to have seed, because you're going to need to buy seed for all these other things. But if you're buying fertilizer for like the Horsch DC9, if you're buying it for that, then you can just have that for that particular machine. You won't have to double use fertilizer in an actual pull behind machine, or the fertilizer that attaches like a sprayer or something of that nature. Using the Vaterstad Rapid A600S, you're going to have to fertilize after this. Now, you can still come back behind this now that it's seeded, and you can use the Aerosol Rotation 1200, and you will get that last bit of fertilization to complete your stage. But if you're using something like this DC9, as you saw, this actually doubles as all 3 units: cultivation, seeding, and fertilization, giving you the full capacity of fertilizer on the field. And you don't have to set it anymore now. Now, the thing that you've got to remember as your farm gets bigger is that you're going to want to look at things in the form of, what's it like to manage this farm? What's it like to pull everything around and hire workers for stuff? Because you want to try to keep your operation simple, to the fact of where you can do things in a timely manner, you can do things in a rhythm. So if you send the guy off to cultivate, and then you've got another guy that brings another tractor off to do the weeding, and then you pull up this, let's say you pull this Pronto Dc9, you say, well, that's got to be an extremely expensive machine. It's really not. The Rapid A is $52,000, and the Pronto is only $96,000, and you're getting 3 combinations in that. So it is so worth your time and money to do this. And I actually think the oilseed radish is something to actually consider. Now, I will say this: I did test this out. You do have the option right here of throwing oilseed radish from your seeder. Now, the thing about this is you do not get the entry-level fertilization, so this will plant, and then when you cultivate it, you will only get one phase. The only way to get the oil radish seed and the second phase from the weeder is to use the Pneumatic Star 900. That's the only way to get both steps in place. Now, this one will cultivate, throw down the oil seed, but you do not get a fertilizer with the Rapid A600S or the Pronto. Now, you will get the fertilization, but you're still going to have to pull behind it one more time to complete that. So this is just a few options of what your entry level and your midline farms are going to be. So keep that in mind as you kind of go forward with this. The one thing to remember, guys, is all this is personal preference. This is not the only way to do it. This is not necessarily even the best way to do it. This is just a couple of different well thought out kind of plans of being able to manage your farm. Whether this is done here, whether it's even done on a bigger scale, you have to have the tractors, you have to have the equipment to be able to feasibly do this. But as you saw, there is some well thought out ways to really maximize your time, as well as equaling pay in the bank, which is really, at the end of the day, which is what we're all striving at, so we can get these big machines and these big huge things that's going to be able to actually provide us even more ability to make more money and spend less time doing this. But anyway, I hope, guys, give me some feedback on this. Give me a like, comment in the comment section. If there's something else that you want to see, let us know. We always try to provide as much commentary around this as we possibly can. So if there's something that you guys want to see in a video, let us know. Join up in the community, ask questions there, find farmers that you can communicate with and that you can actually get in touch with. It's a very good group. They seem very active. So anyway, subscribe, share, let others know that we're out here. I hope you've enjoyed this weeder video. We're coming back with some more stuff. We've already got some things in the works and things planned to do. So subscribe, keep up with us, and until next time, I'm Cycle Nova, and that is all from Full Tilt Farming.